Welcome to The Frontrunner Show with Carol Nichols.
Hello, I'm Carol Nichols, the host of The Frontrunner Show here in Dallas, Texas. And today we're going to talk about the exciting new industry of bioelectronic medicine. In Time magazine this year, the 2019 100 Best Innovations featured 2 products in the bioelectronic field. So today we're going to learn more about that. And joining us from San Francisco, California, I have 2 very special guests, Jennifer Ernst and Gwen Edwards. And they're joining us from the studio in San Francisco, which is the home of the J.P. Morgan Conference and also the home of our guest. Jennifer is an entrepreneur known for her ability to drive innovation and create new markets. She's CEO of Tivic Health, earned her MBA from Santa Clara University, and graduated from San Francisco State. And also joining us is my partner in Golden Seeds, Gwen Edwards. She's a Fortune 500 executive, venture-backed CEO, now Uber angel investor, and member of Golden Seeds. Welcome, ladies from San Francisco. So Jennifer, tell us about this exciting new product. Just what is bioelectronic medicine?
Well, the big idea behind bioelectronic medicine is that our body is an electrochemical system. So we've been treating with chemistry for decades, and in recent years, more and more companies like mine are looking at the electrical side of the system. So the concept of bioelectronic medicine actually started with some pioneering work by Kevin Tracy, in which he identified that signals from the brain being sent through the vagus nerve and down to the spleen were actually responsible for mediating inflammation in the body. Since that time, we have discovered non-invasive ways of stimulating neural pathways in order to create the molecular response. So electrical medicine is rapidly evolving to targeting molecular mechanisms and active pathways within the body in ways that pharmaceuticals have done. So that's kind of the big idea behind it. Our product is our first product at Tivic Health is a product called ClearUP, and this is designed for sinus health. It's used only on the outside of the sinus passages. So we glide the device until it vibrates. When it vibrates, we have to hold it in place until it stops vibrating. And then to glide again to locate the next treatment point. And this is used all around the sinus area here and up the nose and around the top area where the sinuses are. What we're doing is locating nerve fibers that run through the sinus passages and surface under the facial skin. And by stimulating those, we're triggering a part of the autonomic system that actually helps manage the sinus health. So this is the involuntary part of your nervous system. We're triggering a natural response in the sinus passages that helps relieve pain. And if I were in Europe, I could tell you it was pain, pressure, and congestion.
Interesting. That's fascinating. It's a drug-free product. And I understand you were recently at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, and there's a category called The Last Gadget Standing. And who was the winner?
Yep. We were one of the People's Choice Awards.
Fabulous. Congratulations. What inspired you to create this product, Jennifer?
The original inspiration was my co-founder's wife. He actually invented it on her behalf. He had seen a physician or an allergy specialist using microcurrent technology in his office with these kind of big probes and old-style acupuncture. And John had the insight that he could turn it into something, very small, convenient, handheld that could be used at home. So the original inspiration was Frances Claude, John Claude's wife, and I saw the business opportunity. This market is, the number of people that suffer from the condition is in the 60 to 70 million range that experience chronic sinus problems at least several times a month. It's a condition, though, where there's been very little innovation. Innovation in this market has focused on making surgery more effective or easier to do, but hasn't really focused on that kind of quality of life issue. And that's something my team and I have really come to focus on. Is a lot of medical innovation is focused on the things that are going to kill you And we've decided that we really want to focus on the things that make quality of life better.
Fabulous, fabulous, focusing on quality of life. That's fascinating. Thank you so much. Gwen, I want to bring Gwen Edwards in here. Gwen, you see lots of companies as a member of Golden Seeds and a serial investor. What was compelling about ClearUP or Jennifer? What caused you to invest or for her to come on your radar screen?
Yeah, I love that question. We do see companies across all domains, which is interesting and sometimes challenging. And it's extra challenging, I think, for the entrepreneur to show up to break through when we have 300 members. So it's fabulous. But we found Jennifer, and she was so compelling as a CEO. She stood up and pitched to our group, and we could check every box. And we were a little concerned at first about the science. Is this really going to work? Some people just loved it as a consumer product, knowing that the indications were so positive clinically. We still thought, well, we want a little more clinical evidence. Every time we had a challenging question or issue or concern that we put forward to Jennifer, she took it, ran with it, would come back with data. She's a data-driven CEO, and she has the passion and emotional commitment and ability to listen. So these are all fabulous characteristics, not to mention the fact that she's a former executive of a major corporation, led a company in its public debut. So she knows what she's doing operationally. So what else do you need?
Yes.
Great,
Fabulous.
expanding new market and a great leader and team. So we were very excited.
I love it. Golden Seeds betting on management and betting on a woman, and also betting on a woman who's solving a critical problem.
Exactly.
Yeah, thank you.
And it's interesting to realize that it was the founder's wife who inspired this. So there we've got another woman at the helm.
That's right.
Francis was actually the one that raised initial capital for us, so helped us get off the ground and made the bet with us.
Fabulous.
Very good. And so, Gwen, it wasn't just yourself, but how did you get other people on board to see the opportunity as you saw it?
Well, that's always a process, but again, it's about, I think, the enthusiasm that when a core team of people really gets it, then we just start communicating within our organization. And when we have some of our members who are physicians and they get it, and we have a couple that are very active and were quite critical in a positive way. So they were leading our diligence. They nodded, yep, this is of interest. And then Jennifer was able to present to multiple parts of Golden Seed. So that just leads to momentum. I think there's nothing to take the place of momentum. And
yes.
People want to see others who are interested. And so that was really what it took. And Jennifer was good at understanding what I would say the deal. We could fall in love with everything else about this opportunity, but we needed to see how it also is a great investment opportunity. And she's savvy enough to know that and could appeal to what we need to have this be a really interesting, exciting financial opportunity to create wealth for members, as well as wealth for the CEO and all of the investors and the team. And that's
Yes.
what we look for.
Yes, and solving a critical healthcare problem, sinus pain.
Right.
And what is the future that you see for this company? What's next?
From my perspective or Jennifer's?
Yes, and Jennifer,
Maybe we
what do you
both
see
have
for
the same perspective.
Yeah, well, let's hear from Jennifer how you see the future.
Right. So we are public. Sorry, we are in market today
In the U.S., we will be going to market in Europe this coming year with our CE mark having been secured in the last month or two. We will also have new indications that we are going after. And of course, those we're going to hold a little bit close to the vest, well, for the public setting. But we have identified several additional indications that we can go after with microcurrent technology in adjacent areas to where we're already working. So really building up physician awareness of the technology and then leveraging both our connection to our consumers and our connections to the physicians to create additional market opportunities using microcurrent.
Fabulous, good. And
Yeah.
Gwen, what do you see from an investor perspective? How do you see the future for this company?
Well, we think there's a tremendous amount of potential. We love to invest in something that's beyond one. Of course, everybody loves the razor blade models. We've had conversations about that. What could be the razor blade here? So stay tuned for that. There's a lot of really good thinking going on. And Jennifer is very good about disclosing just little bits, but we know that there's a tremendous roadmap that's planned. And I think the other thing is to just appreciate that as a consuming public and an aging population, we're increasingly, I think, going to become more sensitive to contraindications from multiple pharmaceuticals. So anything that we can use that alleviates pain and improves our health that doesn't require a full systemic solution, but a point-based solution, I think is going to be increasingly attractive. And when we look at populations who care for aging adults, they're very interested in the overall philosophy behind this product. So I think that also gives us a lot of room horizontally and vertically to move the product forward as the population shifts.
Yeah, I'd
Yes.
like to add to that because these neuromodulation-based products tend to have
Incredibly good risk-benefit profiles, particularly relative to some of the pharmaceutical alternatives. So, for example, our product, simple application, but there's a lot of work underneath it to make it look simple. The side effects of the medications in this that people are using often drive them off the medications. So they're forced to choose between dealing with the symptoms or dealing with the side effects.
Yes.
In our case, the only technical side effect we have is less than 3% of people have experienced a mild skin irritation that goes away in a few minutes. Mm-hmm. So nothing that is particularly severe and certainly no significant side effects. So that is true for quite a number of these applications that are coming out using electrical fields or using that kind of neuromodulation approach, that they have a really strong localized benefit that doesn't have systemic effects, giving them extremely good risk-benefit profiles.
Yes, I love that phrase, risk-benefit profiles. That makes me think it's not invasive, it's not drug-based, so it exactly. allows people to treat themselves and not feel that they're putting themselves at risk. And so it sounds like a wonderful product. Now, how can people buy ClearUP today? If they want to buy ClearUP, where is it sold?
So right now it is available on our website, TIVIChealth.com. It's also available on Amazon. So if you
Very
search
good.
for ClearUP Sinus, it'll come up on Amazon, Walgreens.com and BestBuy.com. And if you're fortunate to live in one of the test states, that is in Best Buy in a few stores, and we expect to be going live with at least one other retailer by the end of this quarter.
Wonderful. So someone can get relief today. If they order today, they may get relief tomorrow.
Order it on Amazon Prime, and it'll be on your doorstep tomorrow.
I love that. Now back to Gwen. Gwen, further on Golden Seeds. How has Golden Seeds helped this company, ClearUP, other than financial?
Well, I think, it's always about connections and relationships. And the power of a group as large as Golden Seeds is there's depth that is very impressive. And quite frankly, it grows as a new member comes on board. We tap that new member. So it's really about relationships. So we focused mostly on looking for the right people to introduce Jennifer to. Always, companies are always looking for more capital. At least it's nice to know where it's going to be when you're ready for it. And so we like to build good relationships with other investor groups. And we focus on that. This stage, we often focus on getting good feedback, helping to understand what are the key milestones that are most important for that next level of growth. And just thinking about, how do we use our network to advance the awareness of the product? So we did a little bit of that before the holidays so that people
Yes.
could buy a gift. But it ranges from just acting as consumers that are passionate to knowledgeable investors and who's in our ecosystem.
Yeah, and I would say one of the values of having angel investors, I actually don't know how many people are on my cap table at Golden Seeds, to be honest, but I think behind a couple of our special purpose vehicles, we have probably 150 plus investors who are, helped rally the vote count for the last gadget standing, who have introduced me to resources. We've been introduced to some very strong marketing opportunities that will allow us to be very capital efficient in how we start to scale the sales. So those, and of course the Rolodex has been helpful too. So having that angel network really supporting the company in many different ways was one of the reasons why initially I wanted to go out to the angel groups and didn't, was to be able to build that support structure around the company.
Fabulous. Yeah, that access to human capital, not just financial capital, is something that a group like Golden Seeds has provided you. On the topic of human capital, Jennifer, talk a little bit about your board. Has your board been able to help you create a sustainable company? In what ways has your board contributed to your success?
So I'm very excited to have seated a new board in October. The board is, I would say, is coming together really around the company. We have 3 key board members. One is Karen Drexler, who has built and sold multiple medical device companies. Another is Dean Zikria, who has held strategic planning and marketing positions at global Fortune 500 companies, has been involved in mergers and acquisitions, both divestitures and acquisitions. So he is a great resource both in understanding how to work in that large company matrix, as well as planning our own strategies for both organic and inorganic growth. And then Cheryl Bolton, who is one of the few women, highly influential HBS graduate, one of the few women that has started a company from near zero, taken it to the public market, and run it for several years after taking it public. So with that combination on the board, I have a really nice matrix of people that have exercised all types of liquidity for investors, who have built companies, who have domain experience across the allergy and asthma field. So it's really been it's a great sounding board for me. It's a good place for me to be able to talk about international expansion and gain experience of what people have had successes with, failures with, that augments my own experience and gives me a broader perspective.
That's wonderful to hear. It sounds like you've been very strategic in building a board with various strengths, as you said, a matrix of skills and expertise that makes for a strong and sustainable company. Gwen, what are your thoughts on boards?
Yeah, I just want to add that one of the things that was really wonderful about working with Jennifer, even in that board structuring process, she engaged us. We engaged in talking about what would be a good structure, how many people would be great, and the individuals themselves. Yes. So it's been very collegial, and these are people that are looking out for your interests, and we definitely looked for the best for this particular product point in time.
I have to say, Gwen colluded with me to help me get a good board structure in place.
Wonderful partnership, because it is about not just the skills and expertise, but it sounds like it's the culture, right, Jennifer? As you talked about your board, I could tell you were animated or enthused about your board. So what are some of the things you're doing or you did to create this collaborative culture at your company and in your board?
Well, it goes deeper into just how you operate as a CEO and how you operate, I guess, as a person. I had the benefit of working at a company where the CEO was not directive, but very consensus building without paralysis. And that was a skill set that I was grateful to be able to learn, because being the CEO, you do have to make the final call. There's oftentimes when it's not obvious what that decision should be. And yet, as I'm growing a company, you go through these phases from being basically the product manager, the project manager, the owner of everything, to gradually, as your team is growing and giving the responsibilities out. One of my team members commented on this at the Consumer Electronics Show, because every single time something marketing related came up to the booth, I'm like grabbing the card and handing it to my marketing person. It's just, this is retail, you take it, Maureen, you take it. Whereas 2 years ago, he would have expected me to have been completely like on top of all the marketing things, because that was what I brought to the table. Now I have team members who are way stronger than I am in each of the functional areas that they manage. So I have that benefit of having people who are better than I am able to take over every one of the pieces of the company's functional areas. So it's kind of a collaborative process that's been built from the bottoms up, and just naturally extends into the way of interacting with the board. And I love the fact that, the board members I have understand the difference between the strategic guidance role that they play versus an operational role. So the noses in, fingers out approach is something they get. So in that way, I can really use them as a sounding board and use them in some cases to help grow my team in certain areas.
Very good. Very good. And Gwen,
I'll
you're
remember
nodding.
that. Noses and fingers out.
You haven't heard that before?
No.
Oh,
That's good.
So Gwen, you are nodding because I think you've seen companies in the design. You want to build a company that's scalable, that will be able to grow through various stages. So as an investor, what are some of your comments on Jennifer's strategy about how she's building this board and this company?
Well, I think one of the things we're seeing, and even just now listening to Jennifer's description, it's clear that you could tell she's bringing experience to the table. She's not a first-time CEO, and that's wonderful. We need both, obviously, and we back both. But in this case, I think one way that she's able to grow so quickly, and she was just telling me a little bit before we started this about the rate of growth right now. It's phenomenal. And I'll let her speak to the numbers if she wants to disclose them. But people often think from the outside looking in, oh, gee, it's so great to be a high growth company. It must be fun. It must be so easy. You're just rolling in opportunity. Well, no, it's challenging as heck.
Yes.
You have to stay in front of the customer base and have good quality and hire people at the right time. And, it's not easy. And I think the fact that Jennifer's been through this kind of high growth cycle before and has learned from someone she admired as a leader on what works, you experience that. There's nothing like having that experience in your memory muscle. You don't have to think it. You react, you respond.
It's interesting because I joined my last company when it was 8 people, and we took it to about $500 million
market cap in less than 5 years. We're now just becoming 8 people, and I feel like now I'm coming into my comfort zone. I'm through the part that I hadn't done before, and now, this is okay. I know this I've been here before. This we've done before, and you say it's not. It really is in the nitty gritty. It's in the basics, like how you manage cash flow in order to stage your parts and your working inventory, and how you make sure you have order fulfillment processes. And I do find it fun. I wouldn't be fun if I didn't have great people working for me.
Right. And so, Jennifer, talk to us a little bit about the growth that you see for the company, for Tivic Health and ClearUP. What do you see in 2020 and 2021 for your company? What does the outlook look like?
So we're looking at about, since we only launched in September, that's only essentially a quarter of revenue. So we're looking at doubling that quartile and probably 3x that by the year after. Looking at 2021, end of 2021, achieving a break-even point. There is a lot of upside in the models I've built. So we're looking at what's our conservative estimates when we're doing our fundraising to make sure the funds are there, and then managing the working capital so that we are positioned for growing faster as we can create a more aggressive demand. This year, also starting to focus new clinical data on some of those new indications that I was talking about, that we will be prepared. Let's say we won't be announcing the new indications necessarily next CES, but you will see some new product and potentially some new recurring revenue by next CES, and new indications in the coming years.
Wonderful. New products and new revenue. That makes Gwen light up. I know the investors are excited to be a part of this ride. Well, that's all very
Absolutely.
exciting. Such exciting things on the horizon for ClearUP and Tivic Health, with Jennifer Ernst as the leader and Gwen Edwards and the Golden Seeds Group as backers and investors. And we are just wishing phenomenal success for all of you and much sinus relief to your many clients. And so you can get more information on Jennifer's product on her website. And I hope that our listeners will be clearing up their sinuses and enjoying good health thanks to Tivic Health's innovative products. So thank you, guests. And I just want to tell all our listeners to please join me for the next show. We'll be featuring CEO Joel Bagnell with Vericlave, a cybersecurity company at the front of preventing cyber crimes with its innovative stealth technology. So join us next time. I'm Carol Nichols with The Front Runner.